Walking Dead Saints and Sinners Aftershock DLC just dropped on Quest, PC VR and PSVR. Here's our review straight from the VR Games cast.
If you've been listening to this podcast for the past, well, I don't know how long we've been doing this, like two or 3 years maybe now, which is crazy to think about. You know that I almost every episode bring up Saints and Sinners and Boneworks and Alex in some shape or form, because I really do believe those three form like this brilliant trifecta of exploring what VR can do in gaming. I personally have always put Saints and Sinners at the top of that triangle, or that hierarchy, because I think it takes, the structure and campaign of an Alex, and it takes the physics and the sandboxiness of a Boneworks, and it finds, even though it's still buggy and it's not as, immaculately designed as Alex, it finds that kind of brilliant center point where the world really feels alive and you feel like you're really in it. The thing about Aftershocks is it's actually pretty simple to talk about. It's just endgame content for Saints and Sinners, which is a game that everyone was enjoying so much they kind of didn't really want to be over, even though it was on the longer side of VR games. I think you could get about 15 hours out of the campaign if you were playing it pretty modestly. There's nothing here that is, drastically new. They try some cool new things with like trip mines, and there's a bit of a change to your flashlight that comes in as well, which introduces some cool twists on just existing locations, existing weapons, existing enemies. So it's all the same. It's still the same playground that it always has been. It's just more of that playground, slightly tweaked in terms of map layouts and enemy placements and stuff like that. But the whole thing about the game is it's such an incredible sandbox that is contextualized through the brilliance of its melee system that actually gives it some challenge. And the systems of, the two human factions in the game, you can either side with them or, make them angry, and that can change the dynamics of if you need to sneak through a level and avoid them, or you can just walk right past and everything like that. All of that just really comes alive in VR, and this is just more of that. It's probably about 4 or 5 hours more of it. I think I'm at the end of it. I have this objective that's like, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's like, find a thing, and there's no other guidance on finding the thing. So it's like, is the thing like specifically in the Homeworld hub, or is it out there somewhere else in the game? And if it is, can I have some hints? Because it's huge. So I'm sure some people will find that, and I'll be able to follow up on it later on, but I'm pretty sure that's the end game of it anyway. So you take that, and then you take the Meat Grinder update. Those are both 2 free updates, and then you go back to the base game. And I think with those 2 things packaged on, I just think this is by quite some distance personally, I just think this is my favorite VR game. Easily, I think. I love Alex. I love Boneworks. I think Demio is fantastic. We've got other things to be excited about. But going back into this, it just felt like such a breath of fresh air after a year of pretty good to quite good to, not so good VR experiences. We were talking last week, we had a discussion about whether it had been a good year for VR content. And so taking that context and going back to Saints and Sinners and just totally having that experience of, oh yeah, this is why this technology is so cool. Because when I go to kill a walker, I have to really think about it, or like how I'm going to use the screwdriver. I'm going to have to thrust with intent, or I'm going to have to like wrestle his head, find a patch in the armor I can shoot through that. And I know that all sounds quite horrific in words, but it really is a different, amazing physical experience inside VR. And then you've got the kind of sneaking elements of leaning out behind, bins and whatever to make sure you're not seen, and interacting with humans right here that sometimes are very vulnerable and, cause some sympathy within you, and sometimes are very aggressive and intimidate you. And
you just shoot them regardless.
Yeah, I do. I'm a monster in this game. I should put that bit of information out there. And just when you combine all of that together, you just have this brilliant, somewhat sandbox, somewhat directed kind of experiment that just feels solid and it works. And I wouldn't necessarily go back to Boneworks' campaign because I don't think it was so brilliantly designed that it really gave me encounters that I'd really want to do again, save for a few levels, which I think were really special. And I don't want to go back to Alex's campaign, mainly because I've done it 3 times and I feel like I've done everything you could possibly do in that game. But if you told me that tomorrow that Saints and Sinners was releasing on some other VR platform, or that there's more DLC or whatever, I'd be back in a flash. And I really hope we see Skydance's next game soon. I think there's probably going to be more updates for The Walking Dead. I don't know, but I would really like them to move on to something like, think about when we played Legendary Tales, and if they could get co-op into another Walking Dead game, oh my god, that would be incredible. And if they can make it bigger and longer and more ambitious and fix the human AI, which isn't very good, I would be in another world. I just love this game. And even when you bring it into the realm of flat screen gaming, where obviously things have been a lot more polished and a lot more nailed down in terms of how you should design it for a long time now, this contends in that arena in my mind too as well. So lots of hyperbole for it, but I stand by it.
That was our Aftershock review, now available on Quest, PCVR and PSVR. Head over to UploadVR.com for the full written review, and join us every Thursday for the VR Gamescast.